busted down.
Talking about my generation.
Just because we get around.
Talking about my generation.
Things they do look awful.
Talking about my generation.
I hope I die before I get old.
Talking about my
Take my generation. Take my generation, baby. Why don't you all fade away? Don't try to dig what we all say. I'm not trying to cause a big sensation. I'm just talking about my generation. My generation. Look at my generation, baby.
Well, hello, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and good night. It is Monday. Monday is the IPS Fakeologist Show. Monday, November 17th, 2025. Fakeologist Show here. You're listening to The Who, My Generation. I'm looking in the comments, and it says here, 8 months ago, happy 81st birthday, Roger Daltrey, which means he's almost 82. And, yeah, I think The Who is doing their final for the 45th time farewell tour. Still going, still alive. I don't know if Tim Ozman is old enough to appreciate or be interested in The Who, but Tim Ozman, hello.
Hey, what's up? Yeah, I just saw a YouTube clip of The Who
Mm-hmm.
with the song where he screams at the beginning.
Yeah.
And there was a big debate as to whether or not he was really doing it or if it was a backup vocal track to save his vocal cords, which appears to be the case. But it looks real. Very good lip syncing on that part.
I don't know how you can scream even when you have a voice that's normal. It's just crazy the damage it must do to the vocal cords. I'm not into the screaming, but I know that's what he's famous for. So yeah, I wouldn't do it. I would lip sync it.
But the band looked like they're
Mhm.
good. I mean, how hard is it to maintain that into your 70s or 80s? I don't think it's that big of a deal these days. It's just a matter of, can you survive the lifestyle long enough?
Well, I have a lot of respect for 80-year-olds, including the president, because I just think it's crazy that you're running around on full schedule with that kind of stress at that age. I think most people can't do it.
Yeah, I think retirement's death. I'm never going to retire. It's
Oh.
not about money. It's about purpose, momentum, activity, a sense of doing something, momentum. Losing that to me is just like, what's the point?
Well, okay. So you're going to keep IPS will keep going well into the next 3 or 4 or 5 decades, because you're not you're not as old as me by a long shot.
Well, I plan to do this as long as, I don't plan to ever stop it. Assuming I don't get whacked and they replace me with an AI bot.
Well, you'll probably replace yourself with an AI bot as soon as possible, I'm thinking.
I've actually looked into it. I've been looking into it, not to replace myself, but to create press releases where I deliver the press release every 4 hours automatically. And these things are super easy to do. But it's to the point where I listen to YouTube channels all the time, like discussions, philosophy, etc. It's all AI voices. That's one of the areas where it's higher quality narration. It can be delivered quickly. And there's more content creators now than ever because you don't have to have a narrator voice to do this stuff. So we're swarmed with it. It's a mix of bad and good, but most of it's good, to be honest.
Yeah, just before we came on to the YouTubes and the Faco tubes, I was telling you I was watching an investment or just a general business guy talk on YouTube. I'll show you the channel right here. This guy. And I was mainly listening. I wasn't watching. But when I saw him talk, I thought, what's with the hand waving? And then they put the overlay to make it seem like this is an old film with the little spots on the film flying by. And I thought, is this a distraction to get me not to pay attention to the fact that this is an AI generated person doing the talking? I'll just show you a quick bit.
Paying down variable rate debt and shifting, like the rest of the nation, into a defensive posture. They are not upgrading. They are just making it last. And this crisis at Home Depot, It's not an isolated.
Would you know right away that that was AI?
No, no, we're dealing with replicants.
Yeah.
This is Blade Runner, where we're going to need the equivalent of a lie detector test to know if something is real or not, because we're way past the Turing test.
I don't even know who this is. I didn't really get into who this is, if it's a real person. It's a YouTube channel, but I know that I've listened to many YouTube channels that are really repetitive. The script is almost in a loop. And I think you know more than I do about YouTube. I think you make more money if the person watches all the way through, kind of thing. I have YouTube Premium, so I don't see the ads, but I'm guessing that the content creator gets more money the longer you listen. And I find a lot of the content, just as I said, is on a loop, and they just put sometimes unrelated slides on. Now, this is the first one where there's an actual person talking, that someone looks like a real person, but this is, I guess it's
Pretty
just,
big with like
is it called engagement farming?
yeah, it's just delivering entertaining quality, I guess. But for example, I've been trying to listen to some audiobooks by Carl Gustav Jung, and what I'm finding are there are videos that are created off of his photographs, and they give it this German accent.
Yeah.
He's this, so I'm like, okay, or the Swiss. He's a Swiss psychologist, but he's got this accent where they try to make it look like they brought him to life, and they're putting words in his mouth that he would never have said. Like you would never have heard or read anything where he's talking about social media, and yet I'm like, okay, I see what they've done here. They're
Okay.
just
Everyone
out of hand. But
everyone says here it's Richard Wolff, it's a real person. But just I find, okay, so it is a real person, that's fine. But just the way he's gesticulating, it looks sort of phony and fake. But why this overlay of video that looks like it's an old film with the spots? But okay, that's fine.
I don't know. I still think fake. I think it could be him, but
Mhm.
an AI version of him.
Yeah. And you're saying you would do that for yourself as well, just so you can deliver all your content, and you could redo your content with different scripts.
And different languages.
Right.
You'd see me speaking fluent Mandarin or French.
Wow. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you'll be on the cutting edge of that. You'll probably do that first.
Oh yeah, it's inevitable to reach mass audiences. You kind of have to go with these trends, and it's going in a strange place. It's really like I saw country music has like a AI generated song trending, and then religions are using AI to bring like Jesus to life, and I'm like, is that blasphemy, necromancy? I don't know what it is, but that's a thing now.
Hmm. Well, it's a propagandist dream, really.
Yeah, definitely. We're living like in that show Mountainhead, where you have this Elon Musk like character who owns this major social media, and a generative AI is causing society to get intensely combative because people are creating content, and it's happening right now. Like there are trending videos that show ICE agents grabbing immigrants off the streets, taking the mothers from their children. Very dramatic. Well, it turns out a lot of these videos are AI generated, yet they're getting viewed millions of times. And you can't assume that all these people know it's fake. No, the majority don't.
Well, and if you have a predisposition, like most Canadians, to believe the worst in Trump, then you would definitely believe it because you want to believe it, number one.
Yes, that's a huge part of it. It feeds the bias. This is already true anyway with memes and misinformation. But now with the visual stuff, it's going to have even less scrutiny. People aren't going to question it.
All right, so you did a live stream today, or this is the continuation of it. So what have you been doing this week?
Well, it's sort of a slow, in many ways, it's kind of a slow psyop week. So I was just going through various examples of Trump in movies. It's like Biff Tannen's an obvious one, but there's about 7 or 8 that I mentioned, like the guy from Homelander, the guy from Machete. And as I go down the list of these various movie representations of Trump, I'm trying to find out what are the common denominators other than being this braggadocious media or real estate mogul. Well, it turns out that in all these various examples, he's either associated with 9/11 or surviving an assassination attempt, or both. So what we're doing is we're breaking down predictive programming for its elements and looking for common denominators. Because what we're ruling out here is the notion that these are all just coincidences. And we're kind of getting into the weeds with it. It's kind of, at this point, I think it seems like obsessive to people who don't know what we're doing, but we're arriving at a pretty interesting picture.
Okay, so here's your YouTube channel. This is where you have been doing most of your broadcasting. And let's see here.
It seems like,
Hold on a sec. Let me want to go through some of your stuff. Is this your latest stuff here? Videos
hit
or
live.
live?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because what we're doing is it's taken off of the idea of news benders, that the news is written 5 years in advance. Because like a PR stunt, if you think about it, is a fake news event, but its effects are very local and tied into a specific thing. But I'm saying that the fake news stuff is planned so far in advance and it's so consistent that they're not just bending news cycles, they're actually warping history itself. And if our collective worldview, our shared version of things, is built upon provable falsehoods, then what does it mean? I mean, we can all point to Apollo 11 and manipulated events like 9/11, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. So I'm just suggesting here that what we have with our media analysis is a way to reveal how far in advance these scripted events are actually planned and then planted into the entertainment and otherwise as part of the conditioning for the event.
And you're using a whiteboard, it looks like, right here.
Yes.
So you're whiteboarding this.
I'm whiteboarding it because I'm preparing a 45-minute breakdown to take any layperson from mainstream to off-world stage. Under an hour, I'll explain why our shared worldview is fallacious, how history is proactively created. Forget about retroactive retconning. I'm talking about our history is being written in advance, and then why. And the answer is it's pretty much Orwellian mind control, but that's where we're at right now.
All right. Are you ready to take our first caller?
Yes.
First caller, the numbers are on the screen and you can join the studio.
Hold time 20.
You can phone in.
Seconds.
Everything's on the screen. Caller, where are you calling from and what's your name?
Willard from Florida.
Willard from Florida. Hello.
Hey, Tim, I bought some of your books and enjoyed them. I was wondering if you could expound on your book, The Mud Flood, and what you know about the mud flood.
Okay, interesting question. Now that book was someone paid me to write it. But basically, the mud flood theory came about probably like 2015, 2016, where people were examining how far back we can actually verify things and looking at pictures. And it boils down to the notion that we're living on top of a buried civilization. Now, I don't agree with that theory, but I think it's true metaphorically. I think we've been mentally mud flooded, and I think the information mud flood. So I don't think there was necessarily a destruction of our infrastructure and a mass depopulation, but I do think that human history and its transmission has been bottlenecked, and that we're living in for all intents and purposes, a media, or rather a monopoly, a worldview monopoly. So I think mud flood theory was also put out there to distract us from recognizing that fake news becomes fake history. So we could be looking at the manufacturing of fake history every day, but instead, a lot of these people, conspiracy theorists, are now stuck looking at hypothetical situations from 500 years ago. So I'm like, no, get your head out of the mud. Let's focus on the proactive manufacturing of history, not the retro.
Yeah, it does make sense that since we are witnessing fake events in real time, that's what we analyze, that it just becomes fake history. That does make sense. So why should we believe any of the past stuff?
Exactly. And we can't verify it. We don't have the authority. Nobody will ever believe what people on the internet come up with. However, if we can demonstrate the structure of media itself and how it's designed to allow a centralized world power to monopolize worldview, well, then we have a case. And that's what I'm working on. So I'm working on deconstructing our fake history event by event. And we're attaching directors who've contributed to the relevant predictive programming for any event. We're looking at the actors, and we're coming up with some very fascinating connections here. And what I'm suggesting is that these connections can lead us back to a pretty good estimate as to how long in advance said PSYOP was planned. So I'm of the opinion that the Charlie Kirk event was planned in the late 90s, for example. But I
Wow.
think every one of these events, we can make the case based on predictive programming analysis and examining the common denominators.
That's a long time ago that they came up with the Charlie Kirk thing. You don't think they just grabbed a script? Sort
No,
of.
I think it actually ties into the Turner Diaries. I
Mhm.
think that they constructed this new JFK event to happen,
Mhm.
and the specifics are already there as far back as 98 if you look at Snake Eyes. But no, I think that there's a pretty heavy-handed control over history, and that's the controversial part, because we can all agree it had to have been planned a couple of years ago, at least a few if you look at the concurrent programming. However, looking at everything I've looked at, no, I'm suggesting the script for the PSYOP has to precede the earliest instances of predictive programming. And we can rule this in as we examine the common denominators. And yeah, so I'm saying yes, that's the controversial part. I'm saying nearly 30 years back, which has tremendous implications for history itself.
What do you think, Willard?
I like that response about a metaphor being a metaphor. I hadn't thought of it that way before, but I think it's accurate. And I was just glad you took the time to answer my question. It cleared it up for me. Thanks a lot. And I encourage people to buy your books. I enjoyed them.
Thank you. Thank you for supporting my books, and I appreciate the question.
Yes, sir. Take care, y'all.
Thank you, Willard from Florida. And where can they get these books? I'm sure people are wanting to know.
IPS.monster. And if you scroll down, you'll see all the book covers.
And that all leads you to, of course, Amazon.
Correct.
There's the book covers there at the bottom, IPS.monster, tons of books.
So in the comment section, Boris says, was Kubrick's 2001 predictive programming. And 2001 Space Odyssey has references to 9/11, so that's 33 years in advance. It also has references to 2020, to Floyd, to a fake pandemic that the public's being lied to. It has foreshadowing. And so a lot of these major events like 9/11, I have no problem saying, yeah, decades in advance. Some of these things might not be that old. It depends. But what we're looking at is you have the real timeline, objective reality, and then you have a sequence of fake events superimposed onto our onto the timeline. Well, these various fake events are part of a singular script. They're all connected. These aren't random. And when you look at it as a singular script, you can see how this script superimposed over reality has actually dominated the worldview. The psyops are the dominant stories, and this has long-term effects. And that's what we're examining.
Somebody wanted me to play The Mud Flood by One Eye Jack, but I don't have the link to that. So if you have it.
Yeah, I'll find it and I'll post it.
Is that on YouTube?
Yeah, it's a great song too.
Yeah, I've heard it. I know you play it a lot, but I just can't. Is it on? I can't find it on YouTube. When I type in Mud Flood, boy, do I ever get a ton of stuff on there about Mud Flood.
I see it. And look, I do like a lot of the Mud Flood content creators, but their arguments are largely arguments or appeals from incredulity.
Mm-hmm.
And beyond that, I think they're misdirected. I would rather have them looking at fake news as history construction in the making instead of, like I said earlier, having their heads buried in the mud.
Who gives all this material? Who do you think creates all this material and feeds it to these rebroadcasters?
In my opinion, intelligence agencies.
Yeah.
I think it's cognitive sabotage, and they
Hmm.
get people who are thinking in the right way, and they give them bad information.
Yeah.
That's what I believe is happening. I posted a link to it.
Okay. Where'd you put it? Oh, I can't grab it from there.
Oh, I'll put it in my restream chat too.
Put in the private chat here, our private chat, because I can't click these comment links unless I go into the YouTube channel, I guess. Okay, we'll play that on the way out. We do take advice here from the vast population here that's joining us. Some of you guys are on X. Tim Ozman has 8 people on X, and I have 11 people listening on X. And yeah, everybody can also look at us on FAKotube or YouTube, of course, and also on shortfake.com/stream1. Just a show note with regards to the Fakeologist blog. I'm probably going to have to move it again. This is Black Friday week, month, as people know, and I'm probably going to have to move the website because they're jacking up the rates again. So I'm getting good at moving it now, so I'm going to probably move it next week because I'm taking next week off to do it. And that way I won't be paying $500 a year. I'll take the 1 year special, which is usually how this thing works with Black Friday.
Yeah, exactly. I'm saving up because on Black Friday, I'm going to upgrade Restream, so we'll have an additional 5 platforms.
Yeah, they just renewed me. I'm going to have to figure out what happened there if I got the good rate because we have to be very careful about expenses here.
Oh, Clockwork just reminded me. I
Mhm.
interviewed Philip Drusden.
Who's
He
that?
was like the original Mud Flood guy.
Oh, okay. Is he still going?
I don't know where he went. He was an interesting guy, though, and we had a lot of similar takes on things as far as in his belief. I think we agreed on a lot of things. It's just the mud flood theory, kind of like flat Earth theory. These things get a bad rap if they're debunked or you can't really come up with a complete explanation. But they bring out a lot of skeptics raising relevant questions. So I'm just like appealing to the mud flood people. We get it. History is malleable, but let's focus on right now because we don't have the numbers. Media fakery people are outnumbered by mud flooders. And to me, that is a deliberately inculcated imbalance.
Well, is it like blackwashing? Because they sort of think it's our topic, or a lot of truthers glom onto it.
Yeah, that's got to be it. That's why that makes a lot of sense. It's blackwashing.
Hmm. I'm not interested in it. I don't buy it. It doesn't make sense. I think there's hundreds of years that didn't exist, and that maybe our timeline isn't as long as it was, maybe, but I'm not into the buried cities idea in the same way so many people are.
Now, if we're right about this, about the proactive creating of history, this mass manipulation, if we're right about it, this is where they should be focused. Because if you want to find out what happened in the past, well, we need to find out what's happening right now, because the same forces who are constructing our false worldview would necessarily, I think, have information about what's been occulted. But we're not going to get answers, I don't think, without directing our attention to what's happening today.
Kevin Mooring says, was Christopher Columbus discovering America the first psyop?
How many days was he out? How many days was he
Out in the water?
yeah,
Wherever?
before he discovered something?
That's worth typing in. Get your grok on, or which one are you using these days for?
Oh, that's right. After departing Spain on August the 3rd, they made repairs in the Canary Islands, and it was a 33-day crossing. And they landed in the Bahamas. 33 days to reach the Americas.
Yeah. That's hoax code in my world.
Yeah. I mean, it's not conclusive, but it's just funny how predictable it is.
Well, I was concerned that the ostrich culling in Canada British Columbia, in fact, there were 330 ostriches. So now I'm quite concerned that this whole story is fake.
Right. Right. Well, you have a good instinct, because I didn't have any reason to think that the stolen crown jewels was like a major hoax. But it turns out that event was tied into Netflix, was tied into No Kings, was tied into the political climate with Trump. So nothing that reaches mass audiences should be above suspicion these days.
Yeah, it says here 300 to 330 surviving birds. Yeah, it never ends. And there's Dave J7 code here. The initial death of about 70 birds. So, man, they never quit. They never stop with these numbers. So what is actually going on is a good question.
Yeah, I think it's insider code, and we happen to be insiders on this matter.
Yeah.
Now, there's some news about Thomas Crooks, the guy that pierced Trump's ear.
Oh, okay. There's still keep, and we got to talk about the Epstein things, like Epstein files, because this is, to me, Trump's version of Hunter Biden's laptop. This is the story that never ends and can never end.
Oh, the new twist is terrible. Donald Lewinsky.
Oh, is that right? I don't know. I don't know all the twists and turns. I just think that this is the story that the script writers just keep adding to, and I don't know if any part of it is real. I'm gonna say no.
I'm going to say no. I think the objective here is to create the appearance that maybe, or rather, I think it's to confirm for the far, far right that Americans politicians have been blackmailed by the Mossad. That's the basic story, and that's the core. All the other details are just distraction, because if they can get you to just accept the premise, it doesn't matter. It just keeps it in the news, and it's just drama. And the latest stuff is just salacious and horrible. The Donald thing and Bubba. And I don't believe any of it, but they produce the emails and then it dominates the news cycle. And it's like, okay, it's better than Erica Kirk's hot pants, but give us a nuke or something. These psyops are getting a little recycled.
Yeah, and I'm listening to the No Agenda show. That's one of my regulars, as a few people here do listen. And his contention is it's the Dutch British Empire that puts all this crap out. So it's all coming from England. They're sort of they're the empire, and then we get on to another YouTube channel, which is the Prometheus channel, which says that this is just to derail America. Britain still rules the world. I know they use the Jews as the managers, and I ran that by Johnny Cerrucci, who I know you've talked to, and he still thinks it's all Rome. But I don't think there are enough people that are pointing fingers where the empire, I think, still emanates from, which is London. But I don't know.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me. But at this point, and this has been my position for a long time, I think we need to focus on the what is it question before we get into the who done it. Because the who done it could be red herringed, misdirection. You'll never know because they run this place. However, we can figure out what it is. And then when you start getting those answers, like what is it, how does it work, then names start coming up. And that's why I focus on directors and actors, because I'm looking at people who are 1 degree or directly attached to a PSYOP, but 1 degree separated from an event. It's like, oh, you created PSYOP reinforcement content for these 5 PSYOPs in your movies. That's shady. And when we start connecting these dots, we can kind of see the relationship between mass entertainment and history warping psychological operations. So I'm interested in unmasking the infrastructure of media itself.
Yeah. Yeah, Lynn says banking and money is at the center of the whole shakedown.
I think mind control is. I think uniformly putting almost a religion, but a worldview has been uniformly imposed upon billions of people and has allowed us to be managed. I think that focusing on banking and money is just a way of leading the conversation down the woke right path to blaming the Rothschilds. Like, I think we need to look past the red herrings, stop trying to jump the gun here, and let's first get a grip on what actually is in front of us. What are we actually looking at? Because, like, let's say you're a Nick Fuentes type, you're a J pillar, and you think Israel did everything. You're mad at them because 9/11. Well, what if you find out that nobody died on 9/11? Are you still mad at them? Doesn't make sense. So I think we need to go ahead and unmask the fakery before we start looking for ways to punish the people who did the bad things.
Okay, yeah, I get you. Well, that's what I don't really get into who done it either, but it does come up every single day, and some people dwell on it. But I agree, you can't really know, but there are all kinds of clues. But
Well, the thing is, if you look at the left wing, they're equally convinced that the world is run by whiteness and systemic racism, as the conspiracy theorists are convinced it's bankers in Israel or Jesuits. So whether you're on the left or the right, they're equally convinced they figured it out, but their stories are completely different. And I'm saying they're both wrong. We don't have enough information. And I would say that we're being triangulated against with this bifurcated war with these two opposing sides, and neither side has figured it out. So I just think it's somebody that's not talked about, or we don't know. We can't know. It's a known unknown. I'm satisfied with that. I'm, again, more interested in, like, if somebody's convinced that Jesuits run the world, but they also think the news is real, their opinions are invalid.
yeah, they're kind of nullified by their belief in the system or the media system itself. Yeah. Armin Ree says the biggest psyop is the lingering idea that anything significant that is shown on the screen has any reality to it. Yeah, that's a big one.
Right.
And
Oh, by the way,
yeah,
it turns out that Trump's shooter,
mm-hmm.
a couple of things about him. One, his PayPal alias was Rod Swanson.
Okay.
And that was the name of the chief of investigations at the Vegas shooting.
So
Kind of weird.
What is the purpose of that? Just to keep us thinking about Vegas at the same time? Or
they're tying all the psyops together. And so he's like another patsy connected to the FBI. So they're planting these seeds. And now they're saying he was also a non-binary furry, which connects him to the Charlie Kirk shooter and
God.
a couple of others. So now,
But that's just appeal to ridicule. That's just craziness, though, isn't it?
Well, it's crazy to everybody but the far right, because the far right wasn't afraid of bowl cut neo-Nazi shooters with MAGA parents, but they're afraid of leftist trans furry shooters. So what they've done is they've rebranded the mass shooter in order to terrify Christian nationalism, Christian nationalists. And that's why Kirk's shooter had these attributes. And these same attributes were in the Annunciation School shooting, which was following the movie Weapons with this redheaded evil witch taking all the children out. So I'm saying that it's interesting that Trump's shooter has these characteristics because, yeah, it is ridiculous. 100%. It's ridiculous. But it's a manufactured enemy target marketing the right wing who find it believable. And it's a fringe right who are really terrified of this notion.
Hillman Avenger and D-Live sent a link to Claire Wills Harrison. ClaireWillsHarrison.substack.com. I can't click on it, so I'm going to try and find it here. Something about the psychology of tyranny. Oh, here it is. Part 1 and Part 2. So thank you for any links, any and every link. I appreciate it. I will go through them and take a look at it. How governments undermine consent and legitimacy through psychological manipulation. Well, that's definitely your topic, isn't it?
It is. And hey, would you agree with me that as we enter this age where we can no longer tell real from fake because generative AI is so ubiquitous, do you think we're at the point where it's practically tantamount to a new illiteracy for the masses? You know, we got the movable type press.
Yeah.
We broke certain monopolies. Everybody can read now. And that was a leveler. But now we're kind of at the mercy of the media to not lie to us because we won't be able to tell the difference. So I think we're moving into a new age of what I call visual illiteracy. What do you think?
Well, we need people that somehow do a litmus test on what we see to see if it's real or not, and that includes AI. So we have to figure out some way to recognize patterns. But I agree. We went 200 years ago. Most people were farmers; they couldn't read or write, so it didn't matter what was written. Most people wouldn't get it anyway.
Yeah,
I don't know what year that most people became literate, but it doesn't go back that far. If you believe history is thousands of years.
true.
So now we're definitely at a whole new layer. Whereas I said, I'm looking at this video, and I can't tell if it's real. Some of the commenters says it's a real person, but you said it could be a duplicate of him as well, and we wouldn't be able to tell.
I've been saying we need to adopt this perspective of the blindfolded skeptic, where if we're going to judge an event real or fake, we have to have more information than simply what's on the screen and doubting it. We need to have the list of hoax indicators and the context as well. Like, we have to have higher standards to rise above this, but most people won't adopt higher standards. Most people will simply be at the mercy of media, as they always have been. I just see it getting deeper. We're going deeper into the simulation.
Diana says young people cannot read cursive. Easy to change documents that only exist in computer type. Yeah, that's true. Cursive is they can't read it, and they definitely can't write it. But the argument is, why would they need to?
Well, right now, I think the Charlie Kirk thing, I'm glad it's in the past. I'm way over it. But I think we need to look back at this thing as a litmus test. And if you're still following Candace Owens and she's on her 32nd episode on the subject, then you failed it. You failed media literacy. And if you still think it was real, yeah, you don't have situational awareness about psyops. And so it's been a major awakening as to how blinded alt media is, but it also shows how many people are actually going against the trend and who don't have a platform. How many people know it's fake or squib, but they don't have any big voices representing them? There's no place for it. So it's been very eye-opening, but I'm taking the CK thing as a litmus test. If you think Charlie Kirk's dead, we live in a different universe.
Yeah, if you think what you saw is a real shooting with blood, and everything that happened around it and after it was the way things normally are, then yeah, you can't see what's going on. And if Candace is promoting the fake story, then the good news is we can ignore everything she says in the past and in the future. So it's one less voice to tune into to confuse us. So everyone here, I'm sure, is here because they're pretty sure that we are the only ones in the main speaking this way.
Yeah. Well, I consider what we're doing to be the beginning of a basically a new third branch of media. We're kind of the epicenter of it, but there's plenty of room to grow and a lot of people who would adopt this perspective. Kevin Mooring asks if I know why they keep using Jason Aldean in these psyops. He was the guy who was performing during the Vegas event. Later, he shows up in controversy because his video "Try That in a Small Town" seems to threaten BLM members because he performs it in front of a courthouse where they did lynchings. And so he shows up in these psyops kind of as a peripheral character. Well, it turns out, and I found this out by listening to her show, Jason Aldean is really good friends with Candace Owens, him and his wife. So you can see all these people who are part of the provocateur wing of the far right. They're all buddies behind the scenes. Candace Owens and Kanye West kicked off White Lives Matter years ago. Like, they're the same people. But anyway, Erica Kirk was just hugging Jason Aldean, and his wife was like looking at Erica sideways. So yeah, he's constantly in the news because he's a psyop reinforcement musician.
So he's like Tom Hanks is to the movie industry.
Yeah.
This guy's the music and country is one of the biggest. It's one of the biggest genres in the United States. So they need a person there.
1 minute, 26 seconds.
Caller in, where are you calling from, and what's your name?
Hey, fakeologist. Hey, Tim, how you doing this evening?
Very good, thank you.
Good. Yeah, I could tell you who does believe in that Charlie Kirk thing. You know who Sean Ryan is
No.
from the Sean Ryan show? He's
Oh,
supposedly
okay.
some ex-CIA officer who's also real big in the Trump orbit, in that whole orbit. Yeah, he considers himself a conservative. He had Cash Patel and Dan Bongino on a lot, and he had this other guest that there's a big old schism on who shot Osama bin Laden, but he has this guy who was on the team who killed Osama bin Laden. He's trying to push the Charlie Kirk thing, saying, you can tell she's the real victim because you can see the pain in her eyes and everything. And anybody who's going against that is, I know the story is fake, but what I'm trying to say is like the people who, I don't know. I don't know if they matter or not to us, but the leaders and a lot of people in that would they believe this stuff. They believe it, and I don't know. I don't know how we're gonna make headway into this because it's I think it has to do because there's another YouTube channel called Truth Never Told or The Greatest Truth Never Told, and it talks about why society gets the way it gets to when you get away from truth, like you say, and everything's fake, and then when the money becomes fake, that's when you really start losing our morals and everything. Because I remember when Mexico went through its hyperinflation. I don't remember it, but I remember people telling me that. And like, how would you just think about it? If you have basic stuff that costs hundreds of dollars and you only get paid $1 or $2 a month, a week, or a day, it kind of destroys your purpose of even thinking about doing anything. And I think that's what they're doing to us. They're bringing like EU austerity into America. You could see it with all these things, and that's why they're making all these fake events so they could have an excuse to take away more stuff. Just like how 9/11 was an excuse to take the rights. Now everything else is going to be an excuse to take away any type of thing to help you out, so they could. It's just to make us dependent, because if you don't have finances, then you don't have liberty, right?
That's true.
Yeah, and then because you could have all the choices in the world of chips, soda, TV shows, leaders, anything you pick, but if you don't have the ability to get finances, then what freedom do you really have? Right? Won't you agree? Right? Won't you agree with that? If you don't have finances,
Yeah, you need money.
You're stuck. But yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, it's crazy because all these special forces people in there, you could tell them they're
Kevin Mooring says Sean is CIA. Come on.
Yeah.
What do you expect?
Yeah, he is.
And Osama bin Laden was a character as well. So it's a character on a character.
That's the crazy thing about these stories, right? It's like there's characters on characters, and like the real truth is like hidden between like 20, 25 layers of just, I guess you would say, just mindlessness, because that's really all it is, right? Right. Tim.
I would say the truth can be out there, but people are so compartmentalized, nobody's going to see the picture, and the system itself is pretty much incontestable. Like, I don't think you can foment resistance from within. It wouldn't make any sense. All of what we see as far as like protest movements and people raging online, it's all a steam valve. I'm at the point where I think that even electoral politics is a steam valve to misdirect and distract us from the fact that we have no power, no control, and our history is fabricated and we're living in a dream, but we're not supposed to know.
And you're right, it is a scheme, because if anybody good was trying to go into politics to do something good, they would be immediately taken out, immediately not able to get up. And that's what I've noticed with this. There was a mayor murdered in Mexico, right? And it's real interesting because he was going against the CJNG, and that's why I brought the Sean Ryan show up. And there's another one called Green Beret Chronicles, and both on YouTube, and they talk about how the CJNG is a Fort Bragg operation based out of Fort Bragg base in Texas. And it's real interesting because that mayor was going against them. He gets killed, and then there's a protest at the president's palace. Apparently, they put up a gate because apparently Trump's going to do something, and there's there's more than just the cartels that we know about. There's like 500 of them, but since Mexico is like, you have a lot of people that don't even speak Spanish. Like there's a lot of indigenous stuff, but the story that they're telling that the people who are pissed off because he got killed, you could tell the manipulation right there, like because it died down. But yeah, like have we seen a false flag like, can you think, because 9/11 was not only a false flag operation, but it was an information false flag too, right? Because the information that they were giving us wasn't really it, and they were trying to hide under the layers, right? What do you think would be an economical false flag? How do you think that would look?
Go ahead, Tim, if you want to answer. And Jay, I'm gonna have to hang up because the crickets are going nuts in the background again.
I'm sorry about that, but
yeah, they're pretty loud.
I'll take the question offline. Yeah, these are huge. They're like the size of cockroaches. They're like 2 inches big. I'll talk to you offline. Okay, I hear the message offline.
All right, thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Tim.
And thank you for someone scanning the QR code on the screen. That's our donation page. So I just got a message that someone scanned the QR code for donations. That's to the Fakeologist. But if you want to donate to IPS.monster. And by the way, IPS, just as an aside, I tried to scan your QR code on IPS.monster and it said it expired.
Oh, really? Okay. Thank you for letting me know.
I sent you an email, but I don't think you got it. But I think somewhere down here, this one, it says that because it created an invoice and it expired. So you should give it a whirl.
Okay, yeah, I'll update it. Yes, to address the caller, I think the one constant that we can rely on, and you can be comfortable in this, you can relax, is we will always have bread in circuses. And I think the circuses are improving, and I think the bread's improving. I don't think they're going to take either of these away. These are the two pillars that hold up the world stage. And what they do is they play upon your insecurity that you're going to lose this is being threatened. And so they want you to feel like it's always going to go away. But no, I think that this system is not going to undermine its own integrity, but that it definitely wants to keep us in a state of insecurity, stuck in a perpetual doomsday loop. And if you watch the news over time, it's like, oh, we're about to have a civil war. Oh, it's going to be World War III. It's going to be a meteor hitting the earth. It's going to be AI invasion. Now it's demons. But there's always the doom of the week, the scenario of the week, and none of them ever stick. So I just look at anything that ends in like things are going to get worse. To me, all of that is Psy-War. And this is right out of Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals, where he talks about how the threat of the thing is more terrifying than the thing. You can drag out the fear for years. You can only pull it off once. And then if it's not that bad, the threat fades. So no, I have no reason to think that anything's going to be collapsing whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm not worried either. If anyone wants to call in or join the studio, shortfake.com/restream, or call the phone number on your screen and get through to Tim. We got another 10 minutes or so. And Tim, I think, has already been on for quite a while on his show. And
I've been acclimating myself to 3-hour live streams to take phone calls. And what I'm doing is I set up my Chromebook with Google Voice and I prop it up next to the phone. So I've been taking calls now again.
That's good.
It's actually, I have to listen to it again and perfect it. But I fully expect to be back in an office space before the end of the month.
Okay, it looks like we got Dookie Foot is joining the stream. And I think he is right here. Dookie, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, and we'll get John the Beggar on the call as well.
25
that way
seconds.
You guys can ask questions in rapid succession. Go ahead, Dookie. Floor is all yours.
Yeah, I wanted to make the point of how the mud flooders with their ancient history. To me, that's just they're wasting their time when fake history is happening every single day. They're using these psyops and everything like that to paint now. Like we don't need to worry about until we can get enough people on board with what they're doing right now. We shouldn't even be worried about what they did in the past. We know what they're doing right now. So what is 200, 300 years ago, way before anybody in this chat was ever born? We don't know what actually happened back then. We see ruins, we see pictures, we see speculation. Can we really move in speculation? I don't think so. I don't think we can move in speculation. I think we need to move in facts and what we can determine today. What are they doing right now? How is it affecting society right now? What are they doing right now? And once we can iron that out and get it completely straight, maybe then we can start looking back. I think looking too far back is a waste of time, but what's done is done. That's like looking at slavery, if that was as they described it, and saying, "Oh, well, just this and that." It's all an emotional grab, and I think it's just a pure waste of time. Thanks for taking my call, guys.
Thank you, Dookie Foot, in the live stream chat. That was good. That's the best way to come in. What do you say, Tim? And then we'll go to John the Beggar.
Yeah, get your head out of the mud, because we have real-time evidence of history manipulation. And John the Bon asked, why is it so popular? I think it's popular because it's a cool story. It contains a reset, and you get to look at these pictures like of ancient sculptures and architecture, and the visuals are arresting. However, their argument always comes from, I don't know how they built it. We couldn't have built that today. That's an appeal to ignorance or incredulity. So it's based solely upon logical fallacies and ignorance, and it's inexcusable because instead of asking questions like, how did they do that? Must have been ancient technology. They could actually do the research and find out how these things can be done. Same thing with pyramids. The pyramids are not a mysterious thing. They know how these things were built, but they maintain these entertaining narratives that we don't know because mystery sells.
And intrigue, yeah. Okay. John the Beggar, hello.
Hey, how you doing, guys? That first video you showed, that really is a real person, Richard Wolff. He's an economist.
Okay, but did that look real or fake to you? Because with the hand waving
real.
and yeah, that's how he talks. Okay.
Well, yeah, he sometimes does. Of course, they could have just added the hands, and it could be him really talking.
Okay. All right, that's fine. I've just
seen
never
some AI that does that kind of stuff. It can look pretty weird. Another thing too, is Mr. E coming on anytime soon?
Yeah, maybe when he has something.
Well,
yeah.
I'm just looking at Charlie Kirk and Mrs. Kirk.
Yeah.
Are they for real, or are they transgenders, or you never know?
Well, I never really got a good look at it, but I think there's a lot of transpicious questions about Erica Kirk for sure.
Yeah, that what she always, and that crazy funeral service or memorial. That was just so bizarre. But I do know how you could get bank false flags. You could claim the bank is going under, there's been corruption and all this, and it's just used as a front for the bank to be merged into another bank. So there won't be any objections because the bank's about to go under. And that's how you could do a false flag to get financial control of things.
I already think they have financial control of everything, don't they?
Well, I think trying to merge it into like 3 or 4 banks.
Well, yeah, I've heard they want one central bank and no intermediate banks. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they can control everything. But I think they do that sometimes. There's been a collapse of this bank or bad investments, and that's all just done as a front so they can be merged into another bank. And that's what I think goes on a lot. And I think that is a form of false flag banking things like that. And I was wondering what IPS thinks of that.
All right. Well, one with regard to Erica Kirk and Charlie Kirk, I don't think they're a real family. I think that he
Neither
entered a
do I.
pre-existing role. I think it's totally manufactured, and also the appearance of her fake grief is part of the script because they want to include the conspiracy narrative that she was working with the deep state to take out Charlie and take over TPUSA, and maybe her reward is the vice presidency. So everything about that whole thing is scripted. And I saw some posts in our Discord server this morning about their house in Arizona and how nobody ever saw them there together. And I think that they were totally manufactured. That's about as far as I can go. I don't think Charlie was a woman, but whatever. I think he was squibbed, and I think he was playing a role, and that he was probably happy to be able to retire the role because he would have known from the time he was 18 that he was going to get JFK'd in 2025.
Probably. What do you think about the bank mergers, though, that I talked about?
Yeah, about that, I got to look into it some more. I mean, I'm not closing my mind to the next type of psyop and what they're going to do to consolidate. It just seems to me right now their focus seems to be consolidating media control. And that's why Discord gets demonized with every single psyop. Reddit gets demonized because they want to make the public think that private servers and private discourse is a threat to the public because mind viruses can gestate. And they've created the analogy between the virus and the pandemic and mind viruses and a potential mind virus pandemic, disease X. And so I think we are basically being conditioned to believe that we need to have the internet version of a lockdown to control the flow of information. I think that's where they're headed. I haven't kept up much with any kind of potential financial psyop, but I think it's probably doable. I just don't know how much they want to destabilize the system because they have us transfixed.
Yeah, they do have us pretty well under control right now. And it's just, it would be pretty easy to kill someone's bank account because you can accuse them of drug dealing or anything like that. But it's not the total control, whether they can get away with that and then no one will ever talk about it. That's what they'd really like to see, is to be able to do everything.
I think
totally
total
in the
control
dark.
is a long ways away. From what I was reading today, they can't even control the money laundering being done through crypto right now. It's just that's out of control, according to them.
Yeah, according to them, I always wonder, who's doing the money laundering? Them?
Well, it could be anybody. I was just watching, or I was reading a story about just how you can turn crypto into cash and cash into crypto so easily. Even though they're supposed to report all the transactions, there's so many third-party operators doing the flipping and converting that they're a long way away from getting a handle on it, I think. So it's they might threaten it, but I don't think the technology is doing the actual fin tracking right now, based on what I read.
Yeah, and I'm looking more and more at this AI. I understand you can do clever things with it, but I still think there's someone in a back room in Mumbai who helps out.
Okay.
I don't think it's completely independent like people say it is.
Oh, I think it's a long ways away. I think it's just starting, and we're just on the forefront of trying to figure it out. But yeah, I don't think it's very good right now.
They exaggerate it on purpose. They want to mystify it. They want people to think that they have apps where you can talk to dead relatives. They want to mystify it on purpose because I think what they're going to do is everything we've been conditioned for with the AI is actually preparing us for the alien invasion, a higher intelligence taking over. And if they can convince us, hey, we've got this AI, it's the smartest thing on earth, and it can solve all these problems, we will say, okay, well, we can be done with corrupt human governments and greed and this grift, and we'll just have some pure system. So I think we're being acclimated to accept AI as a savior.
Yeah, that's a good point. I remember back in the 70s when I studied computer science first at college, they were telling us we were going to have real time by 1985. And that being you would enter something into the computer and the answer would already be there. complete and absolute. And that never came around. And I don't hear people even talking about real time anymore. So I really think so many things are just cons. Trying to like tell you, oh, this can do this can do that. I think it's a long way away if it can even ever get to be like that. I'm really skeptical.
Yeah, I think they're working on it, but it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while before it can do anything other than quick searches, which is what I use so-called AI for. I think the financial bubble might blow very shortly anyway, and then they're going to be 2 steps back. There's 3 steps forward, but they're going to be going backwards when the funding gets cut off and people don't see any real return on investment because people are pretty restless. Okay, John the Beggar, we got one more caller, and then we're going to wrap it up.
Okay, good night, guys.
Thank you, John. Caller, where are you calling from, and what's your name?
Yo, this is Kevin Mooring.
Kevin
calling
Mooring.
from Missouri.
Hi, Kevin.
I just want to add to the Jason Aldean saga that he's always being used. Now they're pushing like Brett Favre. They're all like asking for him to perform at the Super Bowl this year over Bad Bunny. And I'll leave you at that.
Who's Brett Favre again? Is he the who is he again?
He's a Hall of Fame quarterback
Okay.
from the Green Bay Packers.
Oh yeah, that guy. What does he
Just
sing?
look up, no, he's advocating for Jason Aldean to play the Super Bowl over Bad Bunny.
Oh, I see.
You see where I'm going with this? So just like everybody here, just type in Jason Aldean and look at news stories and how many news stories in the last week over this dude. That's all I'm saying.
I see what you're saying. Okay. Jason Aldean appeals to far right conservative values. He's Candace Owens' friend. He's been attached to PSYOPs before as a provocateur. He provoked BLM. And then Bad Bunny comes in, who's going to be more appealing to the progressives because he's like, anti-ICE. He's going to sing in Spanish, so it's not even an American. So the Americans are offended by it, or at least the right wing are, because the national anthem, Celebration of Americana, has now been taken over by somebody named Bad Bunny who sings in Spanish. So they've engineered this culture war, and they're putting their right-wing culture warriors up against him. So yeah, definitely drama. Like every Super Bowl has nothing to do with the game.
No, it's all about the halftime show.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's all a big advertising vehicle. That's for sure.
But yeah, they're pushing him to play you know what I'm saying? They're like throwing him in the mix. I don't know if it'll happen. Maybe there'll be a collab. But he's always around at certain times, and it's just weird, dude. It is really weird.
Well, it does get interest. It's generating interest. I think it's the most watched thing on TV, so they're still getting eyeballs, live TV anyway.
Well, it's a dichotomy. You've got right-wing Christian country music, masculinity, pro-gun, and then you've got Bad Bunny, wears dresses, singing in Spanish, flaunting ICE. So they've created this intentionally. It's gonna be like with Taylor Swift. So anyway, appreciate the call.
That gets both sets of eyeballs. It's perfect, left and right.
We got to see who plays in the Super Bowl. That's gonna lead us to another rabbit hole. But I'm just saying, this year is kind of crazy in the NFL, and the people you think should be there ain't there, or they're like. It's like WWF, dude. It's just a big script, but they're playing up to the Super Bowl.
It's sports entertainment, right? Sports entertainment.
Yeah, and now they're putting Jason Aldean's name with the Super Bowl, and I'm like, what is going on?
Well, I wish I was as worried as you, but I'm not right now. I just want to know what's going to happen with the big AI financial pop, which is quite possibly coming, just like the .com in 2000. That's on my mind. I'm not worried about the football. But thanks for calling, Kevin.
All right, thank you.
All right. Are you a big football fan, sports fan, Tim Ozman, or what's
no.
your... No.
No, I've always been very suspicious of it. I've always been suspicious of TV in general and how people go into this hive mind state around it. My intuition has always just kind of steered me away from it. But I study the people who are being programmed, so I'm watching the people watching the Super Bowl more than I'm watching the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and that's February. It's only November. Why are we talking about it already? Boy,
exactly. This is great advertising, like you said. This is going to have both sets of eyes, left and right. Everybody's going to be watching it.
All right. What do you got on the agenda for this week?
Nightly open phones. You can take calls, creating content. I'm getting the 24/7 stream back up, and I'm preparing to get back into an office space, hopefully in a week. So thanks again for having me on. These are always great.
All right. Good interface. Good.
Oh, are you going to mud flood?
Oh, right. I'm sorry. I've got the mud. You're right. Thank you. Yeah, we got to get the mud flood. That's One-Eyed Jack. Wait, can you send me the link one more time? Sorry, it got cleared out.
Yeah, certainly. Certainly. I'll go ahead and post it really quick. And yeah, mud flood is a fascinating topic, but it's basically groundless.
Have you had One-Eyed Jack on your show in the past, or?
No, I have not. I think maybe he's called in a few times, but he's created a great deal of music. The last one he did is A Bad Dawn, which is about Donald Trump. And I did an AI video for that one, in fact. But yeah, I'm posting the link right now. You'll get it in just a second.
Okay. Yeah, I thought I had it. So we'll do that one. I've heard it quite a few times. You play it on your outro quite a bit, but we'll play it here just to circle the square, as they say, or bring it all back.
Yes. And I'm reaching out to the mud flooders because that's a lot of human resource, a lot of thinkers, a lot of researchers who have a bad methodology, who could be better serving their own interests by looking into the proactive creation of fake history, not the hypothetical fake history of the past.
Mm-hmm. All right.
There's the link.
There's the link. Where is it here? Thanks everyone for joining in. Clockwork, Ollie Loring, Ryler, Logo Dago, Uki, Kevin Mooring. I'm still waiting for it. It didn't come through yet. Is it in private chat?
Oh, you know what? It's on the main chat. I may not be able to post it in the private chat because... Oh, here we go. 1 second.
Hillman Avenger, thank you for the great show. I appreciate that. And fakeologist.com/donate if you want to help keep the raft floating over here. And of course, IPS.monster. And IPS is going to fix his Bitcoin QR code.
And you said you're taking next week off because you're updating your website?
Yeah, plus it's the Thanksgiving week, and I think a lot of people are not listening as much because they're busy doing whatever they do, traveling and whatnot. So I think I'm taking the whole week off. Yes.
Okay.
So I'll definitely send you just a calendar agreement message there.
Okay, I'm finally in. Here's the link there. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm probably going to also be kind of busy that week. I mean, I'll work around the but as usual. But anyway, here's the link.
And yeah, I got it. And I need to fix the I need to move the website because I think this 1 year is up and they're jacking up the rates. It's a trick all these companies are doing now. They give you a really low intro rate and then they start tacking on all these fees when you use this much data, database, bandwidth. It never ends. And I saw the renewal bill for February, so I got to get the heck out of there before I get a big whopper of a bill on my credit card. So,
well, good thinking. Doing the Black Friday special, I'll be looking for the same with Restream and other things.
Restream wouldn't let me cancel it because I've already auto renewed. I missed it by a day, so they have a lot of terms and conditions too. So, but if you don't have it, then now it's not out yet, the renewal or the special. I think you have to wait a couple more days. But anyway, yeah, thanks a lot. And One-Eyed Jack and the Shells, Mud Flood. And what is his take, by the way, on Mud Flood? Just so I don't have to try and listen to the lyrics.
The video is kind of tongue in cheek. You know, we were kind of like at the time we were laughing at some of the stuff because it wasn't just mud flood. People would look at a big rock shaped like an elephant. They would say it was a real elephant that's petrified. Mountains are dead giants. And so it got into this whole area that was beyond just claims about anomalous architectural features that looked ancient and high tech. But the mud flood song is kind of tongue in cheek, but it's a great track.
Yeah, we had that guy on who was talking about mountains being petrified trees or old trees. That guy was on the show a couple Sundays ago. Stellarium 7, I think, or Stellium 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Do you have a take on that?
I think these are all interesting, and to me, they're just as interesting as conventional theories. I'm looking at all of it, and I look at the evidence that's presented, but we have to also apply at least the trappings of the scientific method. We can't fall into mythology, which is where people get.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks a lot. Here's One-Eyed Jack and the Shells, Mud Flood. Thanks a lot, Tim Ozman. We'll be in touch, and check your calendars for the next show.
Will do. All right. See you. Have a nice Thanksgiving.
Take care. Thank you.
I don't understand how a mud flood can kill everyone but leave the buildings intact. Because gravity. They're inferring a whole lot from photos. Buildings that don't sink are the ones that have the foundations built down low enough, built before the last mud flood, maybe even several recents before, inferring a whole lot from photos. Explanations that begin with the story, and then you find tidbits that build it up. The story, I don't like to put the cart in front of the horse. And to me, the big story with hidden technology and Tartaria and this, it needs to be approached very much by what we can verify and prove our way through. Like, you're supposed to believe that's a petrified